is going to be that Chromie.
Feels a little EU.
Yeah, just
Still EU emphasis, though there is some Chromie play in North America. It feels like there's definitely more in Europe. Garrosh, once again, returning to us here at the Western Clash. Michael Udall, do you think this is enough, the Leoric Abathur, the Garrosh, to be able to get this victory?
Yeah, so Garrosh is generally picked as a counter to ETC, because when ETC slides in, you flip him back into your team, and he's basically out of escapes at that point. So I think the biggest thing for Zealots is that they're going to have fun, and they're playing for fun this game, and I think that'll give them the edge in this match.
We'll see if it's enough, man. Garrosh was effective with Mopsio to play it last time, got a couple of great picks in the early game, snowballed a lead pretty well, and with Lunara being back there for Chris, one of his strongest heroes, it's not a bad pick.
I will say when looking at Zealots, you know, they got a little bit wild with the Garrosh, but it's only a little bit, and that makes me not as like reserved and fearful for Team Freedom in this game as I would have been. It feels like they kind of got pretty expected, and the wild card wasn't so wild. It was just a little bit varied from what we've seen in the past. So for that unique element, that makes me go, can Freedom adapt on the fly? I'm not as scared anymore after looking at these drafts.
Well, let's make it official. Mike, predictions?
Zealots.
Zealots.
Short and sweet. The heart, the battle between heart and mind. You could see it raging.
Yeah. I feel so bad. I voted for EU so much.
Zealots.
Well, now I must vote for Freedom. I believe. I'll say Team Freedom. I'll say NA gets it. But I'm excited to see the Garrosh play for sure. What are you guys thinking at home, though? That's my main question. Ooh, it's a close.
That's close. I think that's the closest one we've had all day.
Yeah.
Very close. We'll see if that maintains. As Trick was talking about before, chat can be a fickle beast.
They can.
Yeah, all right, let's go over to our casting duo of Vandy and Jayhow to send it home.
Well, we are here for our final series of the day. We're not just throughout the day, but we get the nightcap with EU versus NA again. How you feeling about this one?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, it's been a long day. I feel like the players also have been a bit fatigued, as are ourselves, but I'm hoping this game's just gonna bring us right back. I'm so excited to see it play out.
I think between Zealots and Freedom here, we've got kind of... ADRD looks excited there as we've got Zealots here on the left. That's going to be ADRD on the Abathur, Zarmany on Leoric, Shad on Malfurion, Chris on Lunara, and Mopsio on that Garrosh, which will be a key point in this match.
And on the red, we have Team Freedom with Yoda on Genji, Nazmaz on Blaze, Lutano playing Chromie, Collusion on Stukov, and Zagrag on that ETC.
We're going to see, I mean, right now, coming out of the gate, you know, I've seen a Collusion play a lot of different supports. We see him now on the Stukov. He's actually bringing a little bit of a different touch here as he's going Fetid Touch, which gives you that weighted pustule, trying to get that extra range, trying to get that poke. And I think that's going to be a good way to try and control that front line there with Garrosh to make sure that you don't necessarily have the Garrosh engaging. You don't necessarily have the Garrosh that can walk away, allowing for those easy shots for Chromie.
Yeah, it's a really nice point that you bring up because on this map, we often see Lurking Arm being prioritized because of just that lockout potential that you get zoning around the altars. So it's just saying that he's respecting more of the team comp. He's going to sacrifice a little bit of that zoning potential to do exactly that, Jayhow.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting setup right now. I mean, just the fact that we see Genji kind of in the solo, and they're not necessarily using him as an early invade. Actually, you could actually see on the minimap, Genji had to hearth back, but Nazmus and team, you know, they're going to have to hold. And when I look at this composition, I think the biggest fear is going into a Garrosh, it's really hard to invade confidently because what Dread was talking about is that the minute you come in there and you use all those tools and you don't get that takedown, Garrosh is going to toss you in a very weird spot that you don't want to be in.
Yep, and with that collapse, then what are you going to do? Your team suddenly loses that number advantage that you had. Here we can see already Mopsio, he's taking the full brunt of the damage. The armor is starting to kick in. But that's exactly it. I mean, they took their camp. They just wanted to see, I guess, test where is Zealots at.
We'll see exactly where that's at. You know, you've got Lunara going up against a Lucio. It's not like an Uther. There's no doubt about that. So you can kind of get that. You get one good spread at level 4. Maybe that can kind of help keep up in the sustain against the Lunara. So the way that we've seen Lunara in the past has been kind of put everybody on a timer against an Uther. But here with Freedom, I think they have kind of, they're able to go in. They're kind of able to poke around, kind of see what they can find, as you were just mentioning.
Well, I think a lot of these team fights as well will come down to how Chris can really utilize that Lunara to once again whittle them down. We did see Lunara early in the day with quite good results, if I do say so myself. So I'm hoping Chris can replicate that.
This is really interesting for me. Now, right there, you can actually see the mines in the bush there as we had passed by there. This is something ADRD does. You kind of sometimes will see that in maybe your quick match, maybe your hero league to kind of meme a little bit, troll a little bit, but it's actually quite effective. And I've seen him use this multiple times throughout the first part of phase 1 to where he was really finding ways to put that in there. You get the damage, and it allows a certain control in lane. So it's kind of a fun thing that ADRD does that I don't think I see anybody else do.
I mean, you get so much value out of the toxic nest. You might as well be a little bit toxic with them. Nah, I was just kidding. That one, I actually couldn't resist. Clusion capping that one down in the bottom. But I just wanted to bring up as well with the toxic nest, it's almost you're playing it as though you're still on Cursed Hollow, using it for the vision, but also to slow down. So it's very, very good to see it being used in that way.
Good in that way indeed. Blaze trying to hold off there, but was unable to do so. Genji ended up having a Hearthbank again and was not able to get up there in time for the interrupt. And that's actually a little bit surprising. Going against an Abathur composition, you expect to get 2 out of 3, or at least the odds are more in your favor, it seems generally. But not only did they lose 2 of them, did Freedom, they also lost the one that was on their neutral side of the battleground.
Yeah, that just kind of spells where were you kind of positioning with that one? You didn't want to contest it, but what were you doing? Were you getting experience? And so far I've just seen, not really. It was just more maybe a late rotation, or they just didn't feel confident to take the fight.
I think Yoda might have found those nests, those mines that were in there. Not able to get that, but there's a camp picked up here by Freedom. They do find themselves a little bit behind in experience just due to the Abathur factor, making sure they can kind of keep up, but things pretty even so far. Lutano, though, finds himself in a bad position.
Yep, getting flipped out, and now it looks like Zarmany does not want to let him go. He's still trying to run, but there's just nowhere for him to go.
It's actually a really good play that he made there, is that sometimes you know that you're dead, right? You're not going to make it out of there. But he ended up getting a little bit of extra damage onto the structures, but he also made sure that he died quicker. You don't want to stagger those deaths because Zealots had him in such a tough spot. You have no mobility as Chromie. So it's better to die fast, right? Die fast, get a little bit out of it. So heads up play there by Lutano, despite the fact him getting caught out, which probably shouldn't happen in that circumstance.
It's all right. You get a couple of these like early game deaths because your death timer is forgiven. It's not going to penalize you as hard. But what this has done now is creating space in that bottom lane. But there's a battle going out here for this Sapper camp.
Yeah, I mean, Zarmany just kind of hanging on there. They get the stun, they get the follow-up. Yoda doesn't have a ton of health to go in here. It is only Leoric who's going to heal up off of that.
Oh, come on. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, he almost had that, especially because he ended up going to stab, which had the extra range at level 7. He was just a few pixels away. Chromie's going to do a good job to poke away at that altar, forcing Shad back.
Tying up 2 resources as well in the top lane just helped them sort of stagger this out a little bit. But now we've got Team Freedom. They are coming down with all their resources.
They're coming down with quite a bit, and I think that Freedom has to be careful. We've got a temporal loop. It's going to go down directly into the silence. Not only do you get 1, but you get 2. That is far more than I think that they bargained for. Freedom, they were kind of put on the clock because you've got Leoric double soaking with an Abathur. But when you've got temporal loop, you can lock it in. But I'm not sure where Garage thought he was going there, but credit to Collusion to put that lurking arm down to lock it too.
Oh my God, that lurking arm was so nice to watch. And I mean, I was like, oh, you know, he didn't really want to get the extra range on it or the extra size. He's like, I don't even need it. Like, look, I've got precision right here going for me. So that does free up his talent choices then.
Level 10 picked up by both teams. Seeing the leaping strike out here for Chris on Lunar.
That's safe.
I really like that. I mean, you've got a Genji diving on top of you. If you have stage dive coming in as well, you might get hit by the slow, but you can find a way out, right? So I think that that's a good pickup.
We're seeing the X strike on Genji as well. What do you make of that? Iota.
You're not really going to stay on that backside. It's really hard. You've got Malfurion that could hit you with the Twilight Dream. You've got Garage that can taunt you, and it's one of the things is that Twilight Dream has a windup. So if you're in that backside on a low ping environment in LAN, you have ways to survive and make sure that you can get through that. I don't know if that right there was the best use, but you can kind of hear it, see that windup from Malfurion, kind of dodge that and stay in that back line to really do some damage.
Well, what this communicates to me in terms of Team Freedom in their heroic choices, I mean, we've got the X-Strike being taken as well as a stage dive. They just don't want to be interrupted. That means that they can always utilize their heroics when they have the cooldown up. Yeah, that time it was used to escape, but this is kind of the plan that they're going. So it also shows that they're really respecting the CC that Zealots are packing.
A lot of it. We've got the double altar phase, top right, top left. Generally, we'll kind of see the neutral trade out here by a lot of teams, and it seems that's exactly what they're going to do. I don't think Mopsio and team can just kind of push right in. And if you're going against the Chromie, it's almost impossible to steal in that spot so long as the Chromie player has both of her structures still standing, because you have the range, you have that poke. And I think right there, that's just a pretty neutral trade that we expect. And we've got ourselves a dead even game so far. Almost an experience and exactly in core health.
Stage dive coming in by Zagrag. Yoda is so low. Bazamini, the stab gets the kill. Now he needs to see if he can get up, but he's paid the price as well. Although this does favor, I guess, the kill for Zealots, because Leoric will be back so much quicker due to his passive.
That, and they're also getting the structure damage down here. I mean, committing to that top lane is it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? If you get something out of it, you can turn that into late game control. It's great, but generally we all know that bottom lane is so valuable. So any bit of structure damage you can get, we can also see them getting their sappers on the side of Zealots. The problem is Freedom has Stukov, and the silence works against the sappers because the sappers cannot charge when they are silenced.
Yep, it just makes it so hard to get some value out of the sapper camp, and I think we were just chatting as well. It's just feels almost a little bit strong, I guess, or too strong on this map. That's also why Stukov can be so, I guess, favored on a matchup like this. But look at this, with the pushing in now, I'm wondering, like, Team Freedom, they've been pretty good in keeping up with that experience so far, but I'm gonna be worried here. Oh, we've got a pause on our hands.
A little bit of a pause, we'll investigate, but as you were talking about, having the structure control there, yeah, I'm just trying to look and kind of see where we're at talent-wise, because everything just kind of seems pretty much neutral around here, but we get Giant Killer coming out from Lunara. You know, it's just shooting a quick glance that way to try and find out. You look at Blaze, he has a really high health pool. ETC, Giant Killer. Yeah, obviously he's got the armor, but Giant Killer against somebody that has armor, not naturally. Giant Killer does the percentage-based damage, so it really feels like they've got some control as we get back into the game here. So I think with the scaling of Poison, plus these talent pickups for Chris, I think these team fights could be a little bit more favorable when we do have the standoffs, which we're going to have one here in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, all I was just trying to make the point before the pause happened was that with that Abathur as well, if you do lose a team fight, you get a little bit punished so much harder because of the Abathur still collecting that experience. So that was the only thing I was really worried about for Freedom.
Does work out that they have the global now, post 10, that they have the stage dive. Nasmus getting tossed in, gets the stun in return. The bunker's gonna go down. You can see the silence in there. Mopsio is on that front line trying to stay alive as the bunker's gonna be there. Mopsio is low, but he's got the armor. There's the leaping strike. There's the Twilight Dream. That's one member down. Are they gonna make it two as Nasmus is gonna go down, but we've got Yoda trying to trade out on Leoric, and Chris on that backside is in trouble.
He is. The X-Strike goes out. He gets another kill. Now Zamini, he's trying to whittle down Lutano. The silence comes out. He's still trying to get that kill on Yoda.
Yoda is just being terrorized by the Leoric. Lutano, however, does get the trade. Yoda, after giving it to him with the
Look
X.
at those mines!
This is not... here's the thing, is that in EU, more teams are used to these shenanigans, right? And so I think it's going to take one of these moments where Freedom walks in, and that could be a turning point. Had they chased that a little bit more, Chromie was really walking over there aggressively. Had she walked into there, we would have been like,
yeah.
Oh, that's a feels bad man moment.
Oh.
But from then on out, it's like, guys, let's just put down a lurking arm. Let's find a way to throw something into the bush. Like,
you get one chance to get that blow up, and then everyone's like, oh, okay, you're one of those Abathurs. But I like that both of us were holding our breath, waiting to be like, is she running into it? But, I mean...
When you say those Abathurs, you mean the best Abathurs?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Who doesn't like getting blown up by checking a bush like that, right? It's my favorite.
It's my favorite, too.
Said no one ever. Oh, bringing it back now for a moment. This has been, I guess... We've seen, I guess, a couple of explosive fights, but for the most part, the teams are very, very composed. They're not really trying to take a skirmish unless they feel like they can get something out of it, or it's the altar phase, and that's kind of what I'd like to see. We had some couple of brawls earlier in the matches before, but this is more controlled, I guess.
It's a lot more controlled, and it plays more towards Freedom's favor. That's how they like to play. They don't necessarily want to be the ultra-aggressive team. When I saw the Tracer ban there, they finally find some of the best.
Bye-bye.
When I saw earlier, it was a matter of, all right, the Tracer ban came out first ban. I actually think they were doing Freedom a favor. And now we see Freedom playing a little bit more slowed, a little bit more controlled.
Look at that.
Got to get that double up, but we've got the bunker out. The roots are going to be there, just kind of wait it out. Temporal loop as well as the stage diver coming in. Mopsio takes a bit of damage. Chris uses the leaping strike over, but now we've got on the front side, Chromie bringing down the bombs there, but Stukov gets caught out as he gets put in the back line. That's a trade, and it's definitely not in favor of the team that doesn't have a support because Zugrug is going to be in trouble. He's got the slide, but it's not going to be enough.
Next to fall, and now with that clone coming out, there's more pressure. Lutano is trying his hardest to get away. Chris is hot on his heels. Got the poison out, the Splinter Spear. Look at that damage.
It's a feels bad man moment. We also see, this is the second time I've seen it today, the choking pollen, getting the extra damage off of your Noxious Blossom whenever they're already affected by your toxin, by the poison there. And you can see that is a moment where Nasmus got absolutely shredded by poison. He's not making it out of here.
No, he is falling down for the count, but also Genji trading. Finally, Yoda winning against Harmony. I feel like it's always been these two locking heads. And I mean, okay, so on the side of Team Freedom now, I'm starting to get a little bit worried because I feel like they were in a really nice position to win that fight until Stukov went down. As you said, who's this fight going to favor? Well, obviously the team with that support. You're just going to run out of sustain, right?
It did feel a little bit weird. I mean, I think we had the Garrosh clone in the middle of all that, so it definitely caused a few problems. You're not used to just one toss, but all of a sudden you've got two. And
so much displacement coming at you.
A lot of it, a lot of it. Now we've got the sappers picked up again. Genji being chased down in the top. Yoda, oh, the interrupt there.
Oh my goodness, he got deleted. That's one Genji that's gonna be, so I guess riding home. Where was your X strike? He's like, bro, it's on cooldown. I couldn't do anything. Like, he just got deleted.
It looked like he might have been in the animation to just kind of jump over the wall there, and the taunt just kind of brought him right back in. So good pick off there. Yoda's been very aggressive with his positioning. He's eaten a lot of damage. Early game, it forced out a lot of hearts back. It seems like he's being aggressive. And Yoda's not their traditional Genji player. It's been Lutano, but we're seeing a little bit of a change up in this weekend with the drafts, with the prioritization of heroes. We have Lutano on Chromie this game, not the normal Genji player.
Well, with Zealots as well, they're just taking advantage of these rotations and the positioning. Zarmany, with that Abathur hat, you can see how much bullying force he's got behind him. And it just makes it so hard because they're like, we need to deal with this constant Leoric split push. But with the Abathur, how many resources can we commit to it? We only really want to send one member realistically, but we can't.
Pretty even game though, Vandy, when we look at experience. So things in their favor, Nasmus kind of making sure that there's not a lot going, but they do get the toss back. Bunker used again, 40-second cooldown, so you can kind of get away with moments like that. But we've got ourselves a double altar phase about to break out as those are now available.
I'm seeing just a repeat. Every time Mobster gets Nazmaz, instantly the bunker comes out before any sort of collapse can happen. But I wonder soon, are they going to try and have a fake out with that? But a fight is breaking on out now.
Fight's breaking out. Zugrug has used that, but on the front side, Mopsio is taking a lot of damage. The temporal loop is going to be there, but he's got his self-cleanse. Zugrug's going to get blown up. Can they try and trade out here as Mopsio is low, but he is Garrosh. That armor's there. He's going to toss Yoda back in, who's going to get out and bunker. It's available. He's trying to poke down Zarmany.
Zarmany's so low, but does not fall. Lutano as well, just trying to see if he could snipe him off. It's not going to happen. The massive shove now finishes the fight, disengaging for now.
It buys them a few seconds, but I mean, ETC used his stage dive. He has 30 seconds till he spawns and 35 seconds until that's off cooldown. Leoric has already split off mid, and with that numbers advantage, I don't think they can do much more. Yoda eating so much damage there.
Yoda is just getting so low, but oh my gosh, while that was happening, an Altar got captured.
Altar captured for now. Chris on his way back, but Garrosh has other ideas, trying to throw in more. Zarmany walks away. Mopsio, you can see that weighted Pushel trying to lock him down, but the Abathur hat into the taunt, and now they're going in. Leaping Strike is going to confirm a kill, and Mopsio is seemingly invincible as he just sits on about 10% health, but ETC is back in this fight. Nice ice block to dodge that slide from Zugro.
Warlord's challenge is massive to get those kills, but now finally Garrosh does fall. Lutano so low, he's got nowhere to go with the Entomb. Oh my goodness.
It's the hat. The Abathur hat is absolutely terrorizing. Timeout is not going to be enough. Zarmany and team waiting for him to come out of there. The spray goes down, but the spray does not save you.
No, it's more just like I know I'm gonna fall, but I'm gonna at least be on my terms, right? Stubborn Kirby. This is now starting to look like Zealots have this one in the bag. They are starting to capitalize on the kills that they're getting. Death timers are getting longer and longer. Once this first bell tower falls, I feel like that's going to be the momentum for Zealots to really start to close out this, with other bell towers being quite low.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you here, and the fact that that bottom lane control, especially now that we've got a single altar, we're down to 12 core health on the side of Freedom, and they have to try and defend the middle here. I mean, you can slowly start to soften this up, and I don't mean to alarm anybody, but the top bell tower is sitting at about 0 health.
Yeah.
The middle one's sitting here at about 25%. This could potentially be checkmate very soon.
Well, it was a perfect time for them to win that team fight with that constant pressure of Abathur, and anytime Leoric as well, just going there to clean and continuously push the waves. So this is what now Freedom, they're just finding it very, very hard to deal with.
They're finding it very hard to deal with. The bunkers used to try and eat some of these shots. They have to get this down. When you have a 6 cap, it will progressively fire shots. They finally neutralized that, but we're looking at 6 shots, bringing it down to 4 core health. Oh, by the way, the boss is a thing on this map. Who does 4 core health? So Freedom in a tough spot right now.
Yeah, this is not really a position that you want to be in as Freedom, and oh my goodness. Thank goodness they're at least checking these out. Look at the really aggressive positioning coming out from Zealots as well. Both teams do have their Storm talents at least, so they're fighting on even talent tier advantage now, but you can't afford to misstep here with this fight breaking out.
You can't at all. They get the slide directly over, but there's the Entomb. You're buried alive in there as you're not able to do much, but Mopsio is in trouble. We see the Twilight Dream in response. Temporal Loop is going to be out, but Zarmany is putting pressure on the backside as X-Strike comes down. The AoE taunt is there. Mopsio is living there as Shad, keeping him alive. And right now, Zealots seems to be in control as we see the Leaping Strike go in, confirms the kill onto ETC.
And look at this collision so low. He's not going to be able to get away either. Chris hot on his tail. That is going to be game. Really nice fight coming out by Team Zealots, and it was so clean. Really, I feel like what's happening in this? What?
The mines.
The BM?
Who's going to walk through the mines? Somebody, they're going to have to check this boss, and somebody's about to walk through those mines.
Yeah, but who wants to be the
There it is!
Oh my god! Deleted.
Oh,
Poor Genji.
no. Yes, that is AD who literally put down the toxic nest of toxicity to confirm that kill. That makes it 4 members. That's going to be 5 there. And that is Zealots taking game number 1.
Did we maybe see ADRD just crack a small smile? As he said, he's a very, very somber man, a man that doesn't smile often, but surely he'd be pretty happy with that.
Shad just hands off keyboard moment there. He's like, look, I know you guys got this, but the Garrosh pick. Chromie is great for burst damage. He's one of the good counters there. Malfurion doesn't have the burst damage, but it just seemed like Mopsio lived with about 10% health at every single team fight. They got the takedown in one of the team fights, but it was after multiple people went down on the side of Freedom. Freedom did not have the punishment to get those takedowns, and Chromie and Genji just didn't seem to be enough.
It was not enough. Just the Warlord's challenge coming out on top of the Entangling Roots, that disgusting combination. Oh my goodness, it was just so hard for Team Freedom to deal with. And yes, they had the escape tools. I mean, X-Strike kind of bailing them out a couple times there, but they weren't getting the kills when they needed to. And Mopsio, he's just running around. He looks deceptively low, right? But remember, Garrosh's passive, that armor that starts to kick in the lower he gets, that was what was keeping him alive. And it was also almost baiting him because everyone's like, we just want that reset for Genji. Let's focus him down. But those precious seconds, No, that was actually what they wanted you to do. So it worked so well for Zealots in the end.
Yeah, you could double up post 13. He had the self-cleanse going on there. So there were a lot of things that worked in favor of Zealots, and it just seemed the team fights, the Abathur factor was just way too much. But before we get too far into this, let's send it back to the panel for Gillyweed and team.
Thank you, Jay Hound, Vandy, Trixler. The question was posed, are Zealots just going to have some fun this series? And it looked like they were having fun, especially ADRD.
I mean, between Now With Their Minds, double Garrosh, I think they had a fun time that game. And I think it was actually pretty cool to see that double Garrosh come in, because one of the issues that you have when you're playing against a Stukov as a Garrosh, if you get silenced, you have a hard time getting a disengage, being able to pop your activatable to get out of that engage that's happening. So ADRD would just pop the ultimate evolution and just charge at Stukov every time, pulling away the lurking arm and allowing for kills to happen. It was quite a treat to watch there.
A little game of leapfrog, Dread. There's a lot of focus on Garrosh from Freedom 2, and he lived for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, on the bottom fight, in specifically around level 13, Mopsio single-handedly dodged 3 skill shots, then pre-cleansed himself on what was going to be the final moment there with the temporal loop. I mean, it was enough for me to almost go like, yo, can I get that replay? Because that was insane. Mopsio on Garrosh is disgusting.
You played a great Garrosh. And Mike, you and I were talking about this a bit. Why are we seeing so much more X-Strike? Because it's the second time now we've seen this, and it's interesting that we've seen it from an EU team and then the NA team that's playing more of the EU meta.